Hi, my name is Betsy Carrillo. I'm going to be talking about my business, Glow Beauty. This project is about advertising, how advertising affects weekly sales for Glow Beauty, my business, of course, which is just a small organic skincare business. So I'm going to walk through the data I collected and how I analyzed it and what I did and what exactly this means for my business. So in slide 2, I talk about my business just a little bit, how it's a small organic skincare brand, and I'm trying to expand into makeup and hair products. And in the first bullet, it says primarily of women aged 20 through 50. I just feel like women in that age area, um, are just really trying to look for products that are not filled with chemicals for your hair, for your skin. We're not wanting to put harmful chemicals on our skin. We're not wanting to put harmful chemicals on our hair. Um, so Glow Beauty, we're planning to expand into makeup, like I said. Since advertising is such a big part on how we grow online, I wanted to see how much advertising really affects my business. Um, over the 52 weeks, of course, as it says on the third bullet. So we are going to collect data, which I've already have, and we're going to analyze it. Each week um, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Um, anyways, I'm really excited to start this journey and help so many women feel their best. I just feel like starting this business is going to help so many women, and over this 52 weeks I'm excited to see how much we can grow with just advertising. Each week we spend different amount on ads, so this project is going to try to help us understand if spending more money actually leads to making more revenue in sales. So like, let's just say if we spend $1 million in advertising, how much will we make in sales? Can it be 3 million? Do you think it'll be less? Which is why this is very important. So, slide 3. The main goal here was simple. We're just trying to figure out the connection between how much we make on ads each week and how much money we make from sales. Down by the variables, X is obviously how much money we spend on ads each week, and Y is how much money we made from sales each week. Don't forget that X and Y are very important in this situation, in this data that we've collected. It's very important to keep up with X and Y. So let's continue. Slide 4 is my summary statistics. Here for ad cost, we have the mean, median, standard deviation, all that good stuff, and our sample variance. And then for sales, we have the same thing: mean, median, standard deviation, sample variance. Of course, these numbers helped me understand the overall pattern before running any deeper test. Slide 5 is our confidence intervals. Weekly sales and then advertising cost. N stands for number, so 52 weeks. And then we have our sample mean that we got from the summary statistics, and then we have our 95% confidence interval. The interval for weekly sales tells me that the true average sales are likely somewhere between the lower and upper bounds. The same goes for advertising costs. This just shows the range where the real average probably falls. So, of course, for weekly sales, it falls between 5201.42 and 6190.79. And then for advertising cost, it falls between $759.92 and $967.55. Slide 6 is our hypotenuse test. For this part, I just tested whether our true average sales were different from 6,000. Our p-value was, what I calculated, was 0.1087, which is greater than 0.05 or less than 0.05. So we failed to reject HL. The p-value was higher, which means there's not enough evidence to say that the average sales are actually different from 6,000. We failed to reject the null hypothesis because there's not enough statistical evidence to conclude that the company's average weekly sales are below 6,000. So on slide 7 is the scatter plot. So our X is obviously our weekly advertising costs, and then our Y is our weekly sales revenue. This is the relationship between ad costs and revenue sales. As we can see from here, it's going up. It's increasing, so this means there is a positive relationship. Each point stands for a week. So there should be 52 points on here. Is what from what I remember, there should be 52 points on here because it stands for each week. So like I said, the points form an upward motion which suggests a positive relationship. Slide 8 is the correlation coefficient and interpretation. The correlation was 0.844, as it says on the slide. That just shows that it's a strong positive correlation. This means that the advertising and sales move together pretty strongly. Slide 9 is the same scatter plot as we've seen in slide 7. It's the same exact one, except it does have the regression line and equation. So like I said, the X is weekly sales advertising costs, and then the Y is weekly sales revenue. This is just the relationship between ad costs and sales revenue. And like I said before, each dot stands for a week. Y equals 3.9276, X plus 2303.7, and then R squared is 0.7128. This just means for every extra dollar we spend on ads, sales increase by $3.93 on average, which is a pretty good return. Slide 10, interpret the slope. The slope tells us how much sales change when advertising changes. We have our equation, Y equals 3.9276X plus 2303.7. So again, for every dollar in advertising that we spend, sales go up $3.93, which, like I said in the last slide, this just shows a very positive relationship. Don't forget that X is the amount of money spent on advertising each week, and Y is the predicted weekly sales. So slide 11 is report R squared. The R squared is 0.7128. That just means that about 71% of the changes in sales can be explained by advertising, which this, like I said, this shows a very strong relationship. The higher the company's advertising expenses, the higher its sales revenue tends to be. Suppose you spend $1,500 a week on advertising. So here we plug in the 1,500 into our equation. Y equals 3.9276 times the 1,500 plus 2303.7, which equals $8,195.10. This just shows how the model can help us estimate possible outcomes. So if, let's suppose we wanted to do 2,000 instead of 1,500, we could plug that in and times it instead of the 1,500. So slide 13, recommend a weekly advertising cost. To reach 6,000 in weekly sales, the model says we need about 941 in advertising. So I recommend rounding up to 950 to 1,000 to give us a safer buffer. But we fail to reject the null hypothesis, which isn't horrible. It's not bad, but this just means that there isn't enough statistical evidence to conclude that the true average of sales are significantly different from 6,000. And that's okay. That's okay. It's not horrible. It's not bad, but we don't have enough evidence to conclude that what's really going on. Slide 14 is the summary. This just goes over all of the slides, what I did, how we did things. To wrap everything up, the data just shows how that advertising is a strong driver of sales for Glow Beauty. Over this project, what I've learned is that the relationship is clear. When we spend more on ads, we generally make more, which isn't always the case. You can spend a lot of money on certain things, but make less. And I truly believe it's just what time of year it is. Like during the holidays, if we were to push out as much advertising as we can, we will make quite a bit. We will make more than what we pushed out in advertising. We will probably make double, triple. We don't know. It's kind of like a little game. Let's just say after the holidays, what if we push out so much advertising, but we don't make as much as we did in the holidays? What about in the middle of the summer? At the same time, we know not everything is caused by advertising, which I know in the 21st century, advertising plays a huge game on how much money you make, how many customers you bring in, how many customers view your website, how many customers have items in their cart ready to check out. Things like seasons, holidays, like I said, new product launches also affect sales. But overall, advertising is a reliable tool for us. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It just really shows a lot on how advertising affects everything. I truly believe that advertising is working for Glow Beauty, and truly I will continue to push out as much advertising as I can, because from all the data and all the analyzing over this project, we can tell, hey, we're making more than what we spent on advertising. I also recommend putting more money into ads. I think ads are perfectly fine. Do you know how many ads I see on a daily basis? Probably over 200 ads every day. And most of the time, I'm clicking on one or two of the ads because I'm like, I want that. So slide 15 is our actionable and recommendations. Increasing the weekly advertising budget to around $950 to $1,000. It gives us a little cushion for weeks when sales naturally go up and down. Put more money into advertising. That works best. TikTok. I see so many advertising through TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. I think that would be very beneficial to Glow Beauty. Some other recommendation is develop seasonal advertising strategies. Summer, winter, fall, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Valentine's. I think if we have a theme for each season and for every holiday, I think so many people will see it and be like, okay, yeah, I like that. Let me go to your website and see what I can find. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This was a very fun project to do for my business. It was very beneficial. I'm sorry, I cannot say that word. And I really liked how I could collect the data and find out what worked best for my team. Thank you. Have a great day.